Well, Noise or Ruido, it's a Natalia Beristain movie streamed on by Netflix on September 2022. But let's talk a little bit more about this movie. Well, this movie talks about a really sad, concerning, and worrying problem about our country, Mexico, and the reality that we live in. Um, it basically talks about the forced disappearance that, if you don't know, it's a really, really big deal here. It's a daily day thing and it's really concerning, which makes this movie a really interesting thing to watch. For those who don't understand the importance or the relevance of this forced disappearing problem in Mexico, around 2006 and 2023, 95,000 people have been registered as disappeared in Mexico, 70% being men and 30% being women. As I already told you, this movie talks about the forced disappearing in Mexico, but let's dig a little bit deeper on the movie. Well, Ruido narrates the story of Julia and other women whose child disappeared 9 months ago. Well, she started working with the government, but after getting no response with them, she started working with the journalists and she got on a trip with her to try to find her child alive or dead, just to get a peace of mind of what happened to her child. During this trip or this journey, Julia finds several amount of people that are struggling like her and try to help her, but she also finds a lot of people that sadly are working against her. Well, after this brief introduction, let's talk about the relationship between the movie and semiotics. By semiotics, we can understand that are the symbols, the signs, and the interpretation that these are trying to make, or the message that these are trying to send to us. During the movie, we can see several amount of symbols and of signs. For example, the one that we can see the most is the feminine sign or the women's sign. We can see it on several parts of the movie due to the topic. For example, at the beginning of the movie, we can see the police department. Well, the walls of the entrance of the police department that had been drawn or vandalized, for saying it somehow, with feminine messages. What this is trying to tell us is, that women have been struggling with our security and our safety, like I already told you guys. Also, a really big deal, a really big message that, or symbol, sign that we see in the movie, it's a tattoo that the woman, Julia, gets on her arm, which is, well, we can see this tattoo 2 times. Well, we see it several times, but I found it really important during 2 moments of the movie. At the beginning, we can see it as an identifier of her daughter, a way of telling if her daughter is the one that is the girl that has been found. But due to this tattoo, we can see that she's not the girl that has been found dead. Also, later in the movie, we can see Julia getting this tattoo due to the meaning it had to her, which is that her daughter had that tattoo, and also that her daughter draw herself the tattoo, which we can assume it's a way of getting closer to her during this really hard time. Also, we can see a lot of women wearing the well, I remember this trans woman wearing this necklace of the feminine sign on her chest. What she's trying to say is that she's a woman and she is working with the cause. And like this, we can see a lot of similar signs and stuff that's trying to explain to us what are they fighting for, and what women, or us as women, have been fighting for several amount of time. This is the scene where Julia and the journalist are waiting for their boss, sorry. And Julia asks the question that we probably were all wondering: why is the journalist doing this if she has her daughter is okay, she's safe? Why is she putting her life in risk when she hasn't lost anything, or not something that's related to the cause? And I really like the response of the journalist. She tells Julia, that's what my mom told me, that's what I have been hearing during my journey as a helper during this research for these disappeared people. She also tells Julia that even though her daughter herself is okay, that she wants her daughter to be safer, to live in a country where this doesn't happen. And also she wants to show people that we can help. We can always help others in need. And to make conscience about this situation, that not because you're not going through this means that nobody's going through this. And I found that really important because me as a woman, I haven't struggled with something like that. And I really hope that I never struggle with something as worrying as that. But I can understand, and if I can help others and I can do something to help change the reality of our country, I will, and I'm going to. And I think that once we get that message and we understand that idea, everything changes. So that's why that's my favorite scene in the movie.